In this video, I'm going to look at the effect that emotions can have on us. But I will start by saying that everyone has and feels emotions. We cannot escape them and we shouldn't try to. They are just a normal part of being a human being. Therefore, getting good at understanding and managing emotions is a kind of intelligence that can really help make our lives easier, as emotions can be really quite tricky things. The first thing I'm going to say is that emotions can be really powerful things. They can affect not only how we feel generally and inside our bodies, but also how we think and how we behave. I'm going to start by saying that I'm not going to focus too much on enjoyable emotions in this video, as they're generally not the emotions that cause us a lot of bother or difficulties. But just so I haven't ignored enjoyable emotions completely, this picture shows the kind of things that can happen to us when we're experiencing an enjoyable emotion. So although there are lots of different enjoyable emotions, when we're feeling one, we tend to feel confident, we tend to feel good about ourselves, we tend to think positive thoughts, and this can lead us to behave in positive ways that make us really easy and pleasant to be around. We don't all feel strong emotions all of the time, thank goodness, as that would be exhausting. We also don't feel unenjoyable emotions all of the time, which is good, because that would be really hard on us. A lot of the time, our emotions don't get our attention at all. They're like little background things that we don't notice unless we really concentrate on what's going on. It's also important to acknowledge that, as I said earlier, enjoyable emotions are not the ones that give us a hard time. They don't make us think unhelpful thoughts, and they don't sometimes lead us to behave in ways that make situations worse, like unenjoyable emotions can sometimes do. So because unenjoyable emotions are the tricky ones, let's have a look at a few of those. So let's look at these three emotions. They're all unenjoyable ones. And even though they are all unenjoyable, they each have different effects on us. So we'll take a look at each one at a time. So let's start by looking at worry or worrying. Well, we tend to worry when we feel really bothered about something that's either happened already or that could happen in the future. And it worries us so much that we think about it again and again and again. So for example, we could worry about something we said earlier in the day and whether it upset someone or not. Or we could worry about if we had a school test the next day, we could spend time worrying about how well we're going to do in that test. So we don't tend to worry as a reaction to anything that's happening right now. It's usually about something that's either happened in the past or that could happen in the future. We do tend to have different emotion words for things that happen in any particular moment or in the now, as it were. So worry is a totally unenjoyable emotion, and when we're worrying about something, it can go on for quite a while if we don't learn to manage it well. So how does worrying affect us? Let's start by looking at how it makes us feel. When we're worried, we don't feel like we can cope, so we feel the opposite of being brave. We can feel a dread, like terrible things are going to happen and nothing will go right. Worrying can also affect our bodies because it can make our heart beat faster than usual. It can make our tummy feel unsettled, which in the worst cases of worrying can lead to a tummy ache. It can give us a headache. We can feel tense, especially around our neck, and being worried can generally make us feel on edge and feel a bit shaky and wobbly. Now let's look at how worrying can affect what we think. So, worrying really comes about because of thinking about something that's bothering us over and over again. And this uses up a lot of our mind, so it's hard to concentrate on anything else. It can also make us more likely to worry about other things, as we generally feel unsettled and feel that things are so uncertain and not sorted. So when we're worried, how might we behave? Well, worrying can mean we find it hard to get to sleep at night because of the thoughts going round and round in our heads. It can mean that we'll be preoccupied by what we're worrying about, so it can be hard for people to get our full attention. We might actually look a bit scared when we're worried,
so we can actually have a scared expression on our face. We might want to talk about what we're worried about over and over again, or we might be withdrawn and not feel like taking part in anything. So worrying can be hard work, and it can have quite a powerful effect on us.
So now let's look at another unenjoyable emotion, the emotion of feeling sad or sadness. So we tend to feel sad when something upsetting has happened. So the kind of things that could happen that might make us feel sad would be if a friend was moving a long way away, so we weren't going to see them nearly as much. That could make us feel quite sad. When a pet dies, we always feel really quite sad. We could feel sad because we've got to move classes and we really like the teacher in our class at the moment. Or we could feel sad if we lose a toy that we've had for years and years and years. And we can also feel sad when we watch a sad movie.
So how does sadness make us feel? Well, extreme sadness or really strong sadness can feel like an actual pain inside us. But sadness can also be like an empty feeling that makes it hard to feel like doing anything other than sitting around being sad. It's hard to get interested or excited about things when we feel sad. And the way sadness can make your body feel includes a sort of a sinking feeling inside your tummy, as though your tummy's heavy, and this could be described as a dull ache. It can make you feel like you need to cry, and you might actually cry, and you will probably feel that your face is frowning most of the time that you're sad. So how can sadness affect how we think? Well, when we feel sad, we usually spend a lot of time thinking about the thing that made us sad. We might wallow in whatever we are sad about by thinking about it a lot and not really having much space for thinking about anything else. It can certainly make it hard to have happy thoughts. So how might feeling sad make us behave? Well, feeling sad can sometimes make us feel like we just want to hide away. We might mope around, not really doing anything very much. Other times we might feel like we need more attention from the people that care about us. We might cling to them a bit more. Sometimes we might not feel like talking to other people at all, or quite differently, we might reach out to other people in the hope that they will help us or cheer us up. And when we're sad, we tend to lower our head and look down more than usual.
And finally, we're going to take a quick look at the effects of anger. So being angry is another uncomfortable emotion, but it feels quite different from feeling worried or feeling sad. Anger doesn't usually last a long time like worry can do, and it can often disappear as quickly as it arrives. So the kind of things that could make us angry include, for example, if somebody's deliberately nasty to us, like by calling us a nasty name or shoving us. We might get angry if we're told off for something that we didn't actually do. We could also get angry for being told off for something that we don't think we should have been told off for. And we could also be angry, for example, if somebody copied our work at school and the teacher made both of us do it all over again, even though we hadn't copied anyone, because that would seem really unfair.
So how does feeling angry make us feel? When you feel angry, it could be described like having a force in your body wanting to fight the thing that made you angry, or like having a volcano inside you that's about to erupt. When we feel angry, it can affect our body in lots of different ways. So for example, it can make us squint or narrow our eyes. We can start to breathe more quickly. Our heart can speed up as well. Our tummy can churn and feel uncomfortable. We can feel tense all over, which is the opposite of feeling relaxed. Sometimes when we're angry, we grit our teeth as our jaw clenches, which is part of feeling so tense. Our face can go red. We might clench our fists, so make our fists really tight. And we can sometimes get a burst of energy when we're angry, which can make us want to move around rather than sit still. So how can feeling angry affect what we think? Well, when we're angry, we often think something unfair has happened, and sometimes something unfair has actually happened, and sometimes it's just us who thinks it's unfair. It can make us think we hate whatever or whoever it was that made us angry. We can become really focused on the thing that made us angry, such that we're unable to think about anything else for a while. And when we're angry, it's not usually the best time to try and make sensible or well-considered decisions. And finally, how might anger make us behave? When we're angry, it can make us fidget or want to move around a lot with all that extra energy anger gives us. We're unlikely to behave in a calm way, and we're not very likely to be patient either. We tend not to listen to others very well when we're really angry, and sometimes we might say nasty things, harm others, or break things if we're not very good at managing anger. So anger is another unenjoyable emotion that can have a powerful effect on our bodies and can be quite tricky to cope with.
So I'm going to finish this video by adding that we can't always help what emotions are triggered in us. Emotions can surprise us at any time by turning up suddenly in response to something that's happened. Emotions are normal, and we need to expect to feel unenjoyable emotions every now and then. However, what I'm going to add is whatever emotion we are experiencing, we do still have some control over what we choose to think, and certainly over how we choose to behave in response to that emotion.
In other words, we can't always choose our emotional responses, especially when they happen quickly, but we do always have some choice and control over what we think and how we behave, whatever we're feeling.
So what have we learned? Well, we've learned that we can all expect to feel unenjoyable emotions now and then. That's just part of being human. We've learned that emotions not only affect how we feel generally, they can affect our bodies, they can affect our thoughts, and they can affect how we are likely to behave or how we're likely to want to behave. And we've also learnt that we can't always help what we're feeling, but we do always have some choice about what we think and how we behave.